Your beloved Houston Astros are back above 500 after taking 2 of 3 from the supposedly purple hot, because of Grimace, New York Mets over the weekend. Hello and welcome aboard, Gallant and George. It is Monday, July 1st, 2024. Joe George, the Astros are back in their rightful place in the Iron Throne of the American League West. Just kidding. Still not there, but above 500 almost feels that way.
It's just the Throne of Swords. That's what we learned last night. This was what a weekend. Paul, dare I say, I think this series win was more impressive than what they did against the Orioles.
Whoa.
To start the series with Blanco not being great on Friday night, you lose that game. Saturday is just all over the place. You've got disaster plays from Fromber. You have the big comeback win. Yesterday, Altuve gets thrown out of game for, I still don't know why. You go to extras. You smash them in the 11th. I'm impressed. A bullpen day, and that was the one game I thought they were going to lose. Looking at the series on Friday when we were here, they're going to win 2 out of 3. Sunday's probably the game they lose.
You overcame a lot of adversity in this one. Shout out to Sean, the bearded one, Dubin, who goes out there and gives you 3 1/3 innings of hitless baseball. And while you did have another rough moment for your bullpen, you overcome it. And you overcome a 2-hour and 45-minute rain delay that basically meant that you couldn't use Josh Hader. So instead of using Josh Hader, they put in Taylor Scott, who's been so clutch all season long. Scott does enough. Again, did give up a run. But the Astros get that 1 run in the top of the 10th inning, and then they pour it on in the top of the 11th to get the 10-5 win after rallying for a 9-6 victory on Saturday. Yeah, they overcame a lot. Not great performances from Manuel Blanco. Not great performance by Framber Valdez. They overcame shaky umpiring, whether it was Jose Altuve fouling that ball off of his foot. But for whatever reason, it was called a fair ball. He gets ejected for only the second time in his career, first time since 2016. And you also had them losing count of the balls and strikes on Saturday.
That was twice, I think.
Yeah, that crew.
I thought I was bad at math, Paul. I thought I couldn't do math. They only have to count to 4.
Counting should be easy. Sometimes you lose track when you count, but when you aren't even getting past, 5 fingers,
that's a problem.
Not good. But the Astros overcame that adversity. They were 17-9 in June. Did you know 17-8 in June. That was the best record in all of baseball.
It's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
They're playing and all without Tucker. He played in 3 games in June. You did all this without Kyle Tucker. Justin Verlander's been out. The way they've turned their season around is so impressive. If you're not all the way bought back in, they're just a game above 500, but they're back. The Astros are absolutely back. This is the team that we've been waiting for the entire season. You sweep the Orioles, you take care of business versus the Rockies, then you play the other hottest team in baseball besides yourself. The New York Mets had won 11 out of 13 games before Friday, and you handled them this series. And like you said, Paul, overcoming adversity left and right, all these different things that could have gone wrong, and just all the momentum you had, it was ripe for the taking of this season to turn sour once again. And they figured it out. I was so impressed with what they did this weekend, honestly.
Yeah, you should be. It was a very impressive series victory, and I'm not going to go so far as to say it's more impressive than the series sweep of the Orioles, but given the limitations that they are currently dealing with, they do deserve a lot of credit. You take a look at the schedule before they wrap up the first half of the season for the All-Star break. They are in the midst of a 10-game road trip, but 3 of them down already. Toronto with a 2 o'clock game today. I don't know what the Canadians are doing today.
It's Canada Day.
That makes sense. Does that mean the Toronto Blue Jays are going to wear their all-red communist bull bleep?
I believe so.
You're the Blue Jays.
Yes.
You're not red.
They're the Red Jays.
I hate that fan base for very, very small reasons, but I am a petty man. They travel very loudly to Seattle. So when I was in Seattle, the few games that the Mariners played against the Blue Jays, there would be way too many. And they're weirdly cocky. Now, I guess anyone can be cocky when they're playing the Mariners, given that franchise's lack of history. But okay, it's Canada Day, 3 against the Twins, 3 against Miami at home, and then you wrap it up with 3 against a very shaky Texas team right now before you get to the All-Star break. So, 17-8 in June. Is that sustainable? Number one. Number two, does it need to be sustainable, Joe George?
I would say yes.
Yes, as far as it is sustainable?
Yeah, I would say
Best team in all of baseball over the course of this month.
I think it is.
With no Kyle Tucker.
I know.
With the pitching limitations they have right now.
I think it is because a lot of those, I know more injuries can happen, but a lot of that, it feels on the horizon is going to start to get better. Justin Verlander is throwing again. Kyle Tucker, I think, is going to play baseball again this season. I don't know. We thought he was out for 3 days, and it's been a month. But Luis Garcia, Jake Bloss, I know one start, not expecting a lot of him. We still have Luis Garcia and Lance McCullers around the corner. I don't know if they'll have the best record in baseball the rest of the season, but can they be a top team? Absolutely. The rest of the year.
Well, yeah, and the matter of I think we all believe that they're capable of it, especially given that they swept Baltimore just over a week ago, and on top of that, they took 2 or 3 from the hottest team in baseball. But will it continue? That's what I'm asking here.
Yes, I think it will. I think they'll continue to be the hottest team in baseball.
For the rest of the way?
That's a lot of months
That's
left
what
of
I
baseball.
mean. That's what I mean. Because now they're back above 500.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, there's going to be down stretches, of course, but I think when you look big picture throughout the season, they will be one of the best teams in baseball, if not the best team in baseball. I believe in them. This talent, what they have, they can acquire a pitcher at the deadline if things go wrong. They've said they're going to be buyers. They're talking about buying 2 pitchers, as has been reported by John Heyman. They absolutely can be, big picture, the best team in baseball the rest of the season.
I think this is going to be their best month all season. That's not to say that they won't have good months the rest of the way, but do you expect them to have the best record in the majors a couple of times the rest of the way? One time the rest of the way? I mean, you're competing against 29 other teams for that. I'm going to say no on that front, and I really think August is going to be a brutal month for them because, one, we talked about it last week, they're playing against basically all the teams that they're in wildcard contention with among those AL West games, too, against the Seattle Mariners. So that's going to be really tricky that month. And to say that it needs to be on this level for them to make the playoffs or to win the AL West, that's a bit of a stretch. But they cannot have another losing month. They have put themselves in a position where, because they're only 1 games over 500 after having the best month of any team in baseball, this happens again. I mean, they might find themselves back in that just outside the wild card race, and Seattle pulls its head out of its butt. I mean, they have good pitching at the very least. Do we expect Seattle to be like this the rest of the way? I do not.
Yeah, that's why do they need to be this the rest of the season to win the American League West? Absolutely not. Do I expect Seattle to be as bad as they've been recently? That's also not true. I don't expect Seattle, if they don't really figure out their lineup, they just don't score enough runs. They're not going to be what they've been recently. They've won 3 games since June 19th. They opened this door wide open for you to chase the top of the AL West. I don't expect them to be that bad. Do you have to be the best team in baseball to win the division? No, you don't. Because Seattle, to me, isn't going to go on a run that terrifies me again this season. They're a good team. I don't think they're a great team. So I still, the expectation would be that they win the division once again this year in 2024.
Man, I want to say all these things, and I am really impressed by what they have done of late, but it's not just thinking about, okay, the level of play that they're going to have to do more of with the injuries they're dealing with. The lineup, we know it's really good, and they've been doing what they've done this past month without Kyle Tucker, but I really wonder about what these arms are going to look like in that month of August.
That is a huge and fair concern.
Because, I mean, take a look at yesterday where you almost found yourself in a situation where you had to put Rafael Montero out there because of all the pitchers that you used, because you didn't have a starting pitcher on Sunday. You're throwing your relievers out there for a lot of innings. You are obviously doing the most that you can with your starting pitching right now, but your starting pitching is 4 guys. And we'll see what happens the rest of this road trip. There aren't 2 days off in the middle of this week to bail you out again. So that's my big concern is come August, especially the end of August, are these arms still going to have gas left in the tank? Because right now I'm operating like Lance McCullers is not coming back, even though he supposedly is. I'm operating like Luis Garcia isn't coming back. And I don't know when Justin Verlander's coming back. So these are all my concerns. They deserve a lot of credit for this weekend. I'm very happy about what they did this weekend. But I am wondering if this current stretch of play is sustainable. Best team in baseball, they don't have to be that. But you do have to be closer to it than you've been already. And what you did this month against easier schedule than in past months, and especially an easier schedule than what you have in August, again, hearty pat on the back. 9 wins in 10 games. Finally above 500. But still got to keep it up. Nothing is done at this point in time. You still got July, August, and September.
And to the pitching part, like think about Hunter Brown last year. He was pretty good, right? For the most part. Until he crossed his inning threshold, and then it looked like his arm was going to fall off. That's going to happen to Blanco, where he's going to pass his inning threshold very early in the season compared to what he normally does. Same thing with Arrighetti. They're going to be expected to throw more innings and more pitches than they've ever done. The bullpen, like you said, is extremely taxed. I'm not even sure like who's available for a game like today after yesterday. Obviously, Dubin's not available. Presley pitched back-to-back days. Like who's an option? I saw multiple media members, tweeting yesterday, and I'm sure most of us thought the same thing. Maybe there'd be a corresponding move today of sending Dubin down for a couple of days and bringing someone up from Sugar Land, having them meet you in Toronto. That did not happen. So how do you get through this stretch? It is the biggest question, is can the arms survive? Sorry. And just with the history of the team, we know the answer is that's a tough question to answer.
It is. He is Joe George. I'm Paul Gallant. It's Gallant and George, ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Is this recent stretch of hot play by the Houston Astros sustainable? Does it need to be sustainable? You can answer that at 713-780-3776 to call, to text. You can join us on twitch.tv/ESPN 97.5, on YouTube at ESPN Houston.